It's funny, Kobe always thought, I remember there was a time where he was convinced he was going to end up with the Knicks.
That's a fact. I just felt like a 12 gauge to my chest. Oh, God. Yo, peace. Welcome back to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I'm Carmelo, Anthony here with my co-host.
What's going on? It's your boy Kaz, a.k.a. Younger Goosey and Rice. See, I'm going to get my AKAs up.
Yes, sir. Because you know it's your boy, the Kid Mero, a.k.a. the Human Do-Rag Flat, baby.
Yes, sir.
This is a Wave Sports and Entertainment original. It is presented by FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Melo, who do we got today?
So I got to do the intro today. No problem about that. So listen, we're all about community on here. You guys know on 7 p.m., it's not just about players or fans. We welcome the media too. I know that sounds crazy, but we welcome the media too. Or in this case, ex-media.
That's right.
So please give it up for the first ever GM of St. Bonaventure men's basketball, former ESPN NBA OG, Mr. Woj Bomb himself.
Yes, sir.
Adrian Wojnarowski.
Yeah.
Welcome to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn.
Woj Bomb.
This is unlikely right here.
This is great. This is so much cred in recruiting right now. I can take this right through the portal. I can take it through the early signing period, through the season, through the portal, through some straggler in late August who's looking for a scholarship. I'm honored to be here.
It's so fire seeing, taking your name and bringing it to your school, but obviously in the beginning of it all, you kind of shocked the NBA world. You kind of did your own Woj Bomb when you're just like, I'm walking away from all this, and especially with you, you are the person that everybody who has a cell phone goes to when any sort of NBA news sort of drops. So this surprise retirement was a surprise to us, but obviously it's been on your mind for a while. Like, what was it like when you finally hit send and let the world know I'm out?
That's a good question. I was, it got sped up. It was a Wednesday. I had lunch planned with the Jimmy Pitaro and Burke Magnus, who are the leaders at ESPN. We had a lunch set for, or breakfast set for Thursday. I was going to tell them on Thursday morning, and I was going to announce it Friday morning. I was hoping it would stay quiet. Mm-hmm. And there were just enough people who knew it was possible. I got a couple of calls that Wednesday morning from a couple of GMs in the league going, hey, I'm hearing this. And then I was worried about who they heard it from. I'm like, okay, if that guy knows, he's got a big mouth.
Did you think it was Shams who knew?
No. There were a couple front office. So anyway, I was like, we got to speed this up.
Okay.
And so I had to call my bosses at ESPN, and they were awesome with it. I called them that Wednesday morning, and I had St. Bonaventure with the press releases. I had that stuff sort of teed up in case this happened, because I knew it's hard to keep something quiet.
That's a fact.
And I had known in my mind for a while that I was going to do this.
Right.
But I wanted to get to the finish line before I walked in and told our leadership. And I wanted to give them time. We were still a few weeks away from training camp. I wanted to give them time to get things in order for a new season. I didn't want to wait till the eve of the season. And so I called Jimmy Pitaro, our president, and I just kind of said something like, you're going to have to process what I'm about to tell you, because we got to move fast on this. And I told them. They were awesome. And it was like maybe an hour later, ESPN worked up a release and a statement. And so I was in the kitchen with my wife, and I said, well, here we go, and pressed the button. And then my phone just started ringing for
Woj Bomb.
Yeah. So,
on yourself.
And that was the end.
They started dropping bombs on you.
Right. But being the guy that is in on all the insider stuff and is the guy dropping the Woj bombs, you didn't have the foresight to say, yo, you know what? Let me play this close to the vest so that nobody finds out, because I know how this goes down.
I know. I did.
And this is a big deal. Or did you not realize the magnitude?
No, I knew it was going to be, the magnitude, whatever. I knew in this day and age, it was going to be, I knew it was going to be surprising. I knew people were going to be surprised. And so I had kept it pretty limited in who I'd shared it with, but I wanted to make sure the folks at ESPN have been so good to me, and Jimmy Pitaro, who I've known for a very long time, he helped hire me at Yahoo when I first started doing this. Mm-hmm. back when I was on Melo watch at the LA downtown Marriott All-Star Weekend. And
we're gonna talk about that too.
And I wanted
Wi-Fi.
yeah. And I wanted to do right, make sure I did right by them. So I knew it was a surprise. I knew I kind of knew what was coming.
When did you realize I'm ready to step away?
I would say back at trade deadline. And so that's February. I just, I felt like I was doing it at as high of a level as I'd ever done it by any metric.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had a dominant year, dominant 2 years, and it just wasn't as fulfilling. It wasn't as much fun. And listen, my dad worked in a factory for 30 years, so I don't walk around and talk about how hard the job is and it's this and that. I was lucky to get to do what I did. And I never imagined all of what came. I just wanted to be a sports writer. I wanted to just be good enough to have a job somewhere and make a living. Right. So I never imagined all of this. So I don't go around saying, it is demanding, but there's a lot of demanding jobs and mine paid well and I was lucky to have it. But I just had done it a long time and I just felt like it wasn't as much fun and it wasn't as fulfilling. And I really felt pulled toward St. Bonaventure. I felt pulled toward this role, and college sports are in a crazy place right now. And for a school like St. Bonaventure with 2,000 students and a smaller alumni base, playing in a league like the Atlantic 10 with Dayton and VCU and Davidson and great programs that are better funded, are just bigger. They have more ability to bring in NIL. We were in a place where I thought we needed help and I could help and get us through. And we've been elite in our league. We've been in the NCAA tournament. Our Coach Mark Spitz, one of the best in the country. And I just felt pulled toward going back and helping us get through this period. And it felt like a lot more fun. And it just felt like it would be more fun. And so I would say back trade deadline, and then I got into the draft and free agency. And in my mind, I remember the night of the draft, I did something I never do. Some people that were close to me, I took photos with them up on the deck with the draft, I just knew this was the last one. I didn't tell anybody else. And so I kind of took it in a little bit, and I just, in my mind, I said, I think it's over. And I'd had a long talk with Bob Myers, who I've been close with Bob for a long time, back when he was a young agent, I was a young reporter. And then Bob went on to rule the world with the Warriors and ESPN. And Bob and I had spent a lot of time the previous year talking a lot about when he was getting near the end in Golden State. And we were talking about him and about that he might step away. And we would have this conversation. Then he was at ESPN last year with me, and he and I would sit in the green room, and we were talking a lot about it with me. And I was picking his brain about, him leaving and how he had felt without some of the burdens he had and responsibilities of that job. So I remember the day before the draft, Bob and I the Mikal Bridges trade came late that one night, and it was a big deal. And again, it just didn't fit. It felt fine. It just,
the rush was gone.
The rush was gone.
Yeah.
And I would say that I kind of kept going back to, why would you keep doing this? And the best reason I could come with was the money.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not a good enough reason for me anymore.
Yeah. You needed something new.
Yeah. And if I didn't have the Bonaventure job to go to, I might, not knowing, I might have pushed through one more year. Right. I didn't want to, I want to work, and I am working at this. Yeah. But I just felt like, in my heart, I just knew it was over.
Yeah. What do you think the Woj effect has been? Both ways, right? At St. Bonaventure and with your absence from the game.
The only thing I'm paying attention to is the impact I'm trying to have at Bonaventure. I would say about where I was in that world, I always say at ESPN and that industry, they're going to open up a whole new can of you, whoever you are. And it just keeps going, and it's supposed to, right? And so it just keeps going. And so NBA's going, news is breaking, the world goes on. Right. And you that's going to be the case. You can't sit around and go, I haven't paid, I know the standings. I don't find myself watching games. I'm watching, I'm sort of immersing myself in the world I'm in now. And so, but I'm having a blast, but just recruiting all over the world, using my relationships at every corner of the globe, and every corner of this country. I've been, around the country in recruiting. And of course, you spend a lot of time raising NIL. And, but just calling on people who I've had relationships with for a very long time, who have players or access to players, and being able to tell them what our story is and the opportunity we have. We're not for everybody, but I feel like I have in our staff, we have a pretty good sense of the guys who fit at St. Bonaventure and the guys that our environment and our staff and our league will appeal to. And when you have a sense of guys who you think are fits, then you got to recruit the heck out of them. But especially you got to be you're recruiting your own players all the time. You've got to, and that's been
your backyard.
Yeah. But it's that's been my favorite part, is the relationships with our guys, and be able, and I knew I was part of recruiting a lot of our guys. Even when I was still at ESPN, I'd make Stephen A. post for a picture with me and send it to some kid on his visit, But I would be talking to them about the NBA and how I could maybe help and with different things. But being around our guys every day, and you know this with your son and you're around his friends, it's never been harder to be a kid that age. I don't envy kids right now in this world. Like the stuff that they are dealing with and thinking about, it was simpler when we were. And if the one thing that I try to do with guys, if I have any credibility with them, and also bring people around them who, like, this, there's 5 or 6 things they're worrying about. You're like, that is not gonna matter. And here are the 2 or 3 things that are really gonna matter. We know what they are, right? But all this other stuff, and I think a lot of it's social media, a lot of it's, he's got that, she's got that. I don't have, are they living a better life than I am? Are they happier than me? Am I missing something? And there's just so much stress that I don't know that we all had. And so being able just with our guys to be able to help them focus in on the stuff that's going to matter down the line.
The 2 or 3 things.
I've enjoyed that part of it.
There's been a lot of talk about just how the game is covered in media and, the way it's affected people who watch the game, people who take in the game. Did any of that factor into a little bit of you not enjoying what you're doing as much anymore, or did that just not apply to you?
It's a good question. And I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it. I loved it for a long time. I would say, less fulfilling, less gratifying. I think, especially, and it's funny, I think the business changed to me when it started to change in 2008 when you guys went to the Olympics together. And then it really changed in 2010 when LeBron and Chris Bosh went to Miami. And then
that was the bomb, right there.
Right? And then Melo is moving out of Denver and Chris Paul's moving out of New Orleans. And I would say that Olympic team in 08, and I came along at that time and I had gone to Yahoo, and I started on Twitter, and I think draft night in 2009. And all of a sudden, it became like college basketball or college football was, right? You had the season and then you had recruiting, right? They were 2 different things. In the NBA, that was never, free agency mattered. I mean, I covered it. In trades, they mattered. But all of a sudden, once LeBron went to Miami, it changed how players looked at the league and that 08 team started, it started to plant the seeds with guys about, we can play together and we can call the shots. We can get where we want to get. And Carmelo got where he wanted. Chris Paul sort of got where he wanted. He didn't get exactly where he wanted. He got to the city. He didn't get to the right. He didn't get to the right end of the locker room. And so, but I think that was a time where the transaction. Now all of a sudden, like, there was such an appetite with fans, and so I get on Twitter and I start breaking this news, and I'm on Yahoo, and it was new. And now all of a sudden, like, people know the names of the GMs. Like they would know Jerry West because he was Jerry West. They know Joe Dumars because he was a Hall of Fame player. But now they know who Daryl Morey is. They know who other guys who in the past people didn't know the GMs who weren't ex-players or ex-coaches. You know? And now they've become part of the story. Like who won the trade? You know, now all these trades that don't seem like they amount to much. No, they're clearing cap space because they want to try to sign Melo this summer. They trade picks to get, and now every move has this bigger meaning behind it, bigger story. And then people are just caught up. And so I'm on Yahoo. There's a younger audience. They're on Twitter. They're on Yahoo. And it became this whole other part and way to cover the sport. And then I realized when I started out, people didn't know who I was. Until my late 30s, I was a suburban newspaper columnist in New Jersey. I had done The Miracle of St. Anthony on Bob Hurley, and that got me some recognition. But all of a sudden, you realize the people in the league knew who you were now. Like when I first started covering the league, it was like, and I'm at Yahoo, I'm like, how do I explain to Donnie Walsh and Jerry West what Yahoo is? Like, what do you mean Yahoo? They didn't understand.
Right.
So I went after like the young agents and the young GMs and the young coaches and the younger players. Like they knew Yahoo. They would go there to get their mail and so I started because I couldn't get to the Arn Tellums, the Dan Fagans, the older, but as you broke news, they started to notice you and take you seriously. And then you were able to build relationships with the guys who were at the top of it. And so I would just say the business changed around LeBron, Carmelo, Chris Paul, and it was a new industry. And now this really mattered. And then we became this world of trades, real trades, make-believe trades, proposed trades,
trade machine trades, the Photoshop jerseys. And
it
almost felt like if you were a fan, you could if you didn't win a chip, you could win the offseason. It's like, yo, we got such and such. You drafted such and such.
That's right. In football, like, you know, the NFL, like you can go from 5 games under 500 to 5 games over pretty fast in 1 year, right? NBA, it's usually a longer, if you're down, it is hard to. And so you have all these fans, especially in smaller markets, who are like, we're not in this. We can't be in this. And so I think you would agree. Like the way it was covered and what we did, it became way different around 10, 11, 12 with you guys.
It was also a level of trust too. Like it was hard to get that trust from as an athlete to the media. Like it was hard to find somebody who we can give information to or have conversations with that understand, okay, here's what we trying to do. Let's keep this close to the chest. And the more that you do that, it just people notice that. So when he started on Yahoo, when you see that Yahoo and that exclamation point, it's like that's a bomb to us. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, what's happening in Yahoo Sports today? Right. And in 2008, that's what, it was Yahoo Sports for us. That's who broke all of the information. So when Woj started coming up, now all of us is making these business decisions. Now we making real life decisions where athletes is taking back their power, right? So now the bombs that he's dropping is making sense. It's like, oh shit, we never even looked at it from that way. How the fuck Woj get that information? How the fuck Woj know the meeting was at 2:58 a.m. Like this is
tuna sandwich in
so now it started to escalate, but we had to kind of understand and allow Woj into our world of like trust and loyalty because it's that's something it's finite. It's a fine line when it comes to that.
Do you remember the first story you broke about Melo?
I remember sitting. I said it earlier. I remember sitting All-Star Weekend in 11, right in LA. I never left my room. It was Melo watch the whole weekend. I found out that Masai, Josh Kroenke, Leon Rose, Jim Dolan are meeting
in Bay.
In Bay Frazier, meeting somewhere in LA. Parts unknown in LA. And I got bits and pieces of that story after. Dolan took over the trade talks from Donnie Walsh and came in and was trying to get it done. And so I asked Melo about this. I think he was surprised years later when we did a pod when you were in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've heard different versions from people in the room of that. But Dolan basically came in with a folder and unloaded all of what they were going to give. And I think maybe added a draft pick or two in that Donnie Walsh had not put in the deal. And so like Denver was sitting there going, is that in the deal now too? And then, so they think they're getting a deal done. And then this guy speaks up and goes, wait a minute, you're going to gut the roster? There's going to be nobody for me to play with. And I remember somebody in the room said they could just see Leon Rose, obviously the Knicks president now, was Melo's agent then. Yeah. And he said you could see the sweat start coming down Leon's face, kind of like, Melo, shut up. Like you've been after me to get this trade for months, and now you're going to blow it up on me because you want to play with Raymond Felton.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I needed some players, man. Dolan came back. That is a true story, man. Yeah. Dolan came back with a purple envelope, and there was one sheet in there that had numbers on there. Mm-hmm. It was like some numbers that was just put together, showing you how we can really get
like spreadsheets and stuff.
Basic spreadsheet.
Okay.
101 spreadsheet. Okay. Boom, take it out, give it to Masai and those guys. Now the rest of the folder is stacked with papers in there. It's nothing in there. It's nothing on the fucking
It's a bunch of
loose ones. Called his bluff and that shit right there. I'd have been in Denver forever. If they would have called his fucking bluff, there wasn't nothing in those folders.
I did all this research.
And they said, you're breaking me. You got everything. Dolan said, you're taking everything. That's all I have. Yeah. And put his hands out his pocket. No, that was a sick moment, man. That was
the best.
2 or 3 in the morning, though. That was
You just hurt so many Knicks fans' hearts about that team, though, about how much you had to give up for that trade.
See, this is a Woj bomb right here. People thought, listen, I held it down for the Knicks without even being with the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah.
Dolan, no, do not blow this team up for me. No.
You're wilding.
To the naked eye, it looks like you just like.
And what did Masai say before you left? He said, no Mozgov, no deal.
No Mozgov, no deal.
Right.
No Mozgov, no deal. That was the end all of the
right. So Dolan was sent back to go deliver Mozgov in the deal.
Yeah.
Hindsight being 2020, Mozgov ended up being famous for getting yammed on.
Several times. Blake Griffin a couple times.
That was the linchpin.
And then the best other moment of that whole trade thing was Prokhorov in Brooklyn calls it so.
Chess game. It's called chess.
Yeah.
So Brooklyn and New York are trying to get Melo.
And
New Jersey.
Yeah. Melo was trying to see if they could get to Brooklyn a season sooner. He's like, I'm not playing for the exit 16W Nets. I'm not doing it.
Shout out to Caucus, man.
And so Prokhorov calls a press conference. I've never seen this before or since. To say we are out of the Carmelo Anthony sweepstakes. We're out of it. Called a press conference to announce we aren't going after him anymore. This was like it was right before a game, so it was probably like 5, 6 p.m.
Okay.
The next morning, I call back Denver, and Denver's like, oh, Brooklyn's already called us back and made another offer. Like, that lasted like 12 hours.
He just wanted to be on TV.
He was playing, he was trying to see, he was playing the chess game.
Playing that game of, the public opinion.
When you can think back on those times.
Yeah.
Really
I don't think any of that could happen anymore.
No.
It's all too, it's
scripted now.
Yeah, it's too
predictable almost.
Yeah, it was, that was fun. That was fun.
But okay, so as you say, it can't happen now, right? Because obviously you are a trailblazer in media. Like the way it's even covered, the way people get news, you sort of like ground broke that. As it's coming up, if you're still in Denver, as you're still hearing these big, powerful people talking about how to make this deal get done, where you both sort of like, not saying using each other, but trying to like get the message out there, manipulate it to sort of ways that things can happen to your advantage, or
no? I would say that was still. I was not.
I did not have anything to do with Woj Bomb.
No, I would say I was still. That was like pretty early in my career at Yahoo. I had pieces of that. Like if that thing was 4 years later, I would have had everything from that meeting. I didn't get everything from that meeting until then. But I was a little.
Never. No, it's a lot of shit that people never.
That's a movie.
Yeah.
Those stories would be buried.
Al Pacino is James Dolan in Melo Watch.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
I'll tell you, but I have to kill you. Stories. Yeah.
One of them. It was one of
And
them
then
nights.
and who would have thought, like, from that day, Leon Rose ends up on the other side with Dolan and builds him, the best team he's had in
Absolutely.
since the Ewing Knicks, right?
What do you feel has been your Wojiest Woj Bomb? The biggest, you know what I'm saying, part of the left, like, whoa, like, I did not, nobody expected this to
That's
happen.
crazy.
That was crazy. I was going to let it slide.
Part of the left. Whoa.
I would. It's a good question.
I mean, obviously the decision's always going to be.
Yeah, and that was
Not necessarily the
that was
biggest, but just the most
2010. I would say I would say probably most unexpected. I think that at the time it was big because if the Lakers are in the middle of it,
It's major.
It's always big, right? The Lakers are their own sport unto themselves. It doesn't matter.
Cowboys and basketball.
I would say, I mean, I wouldn't put this at the top necessarily. I never really think of it that way, but I think the night that I was sitting on that Paul George Clipper trade all night, they were waiting for Kawhi to tell them he was coming, and then they had the terms of it. So in all that, because you had this night where all of a sudden Kawhi could end up with the Lakers.
Yep.
And the league could look one way. And then it was, well, he could go to the Clippers. It could look another way. And, oh, wait, now it's Paul George and Kawhi. And I think at the time it felt seismic. Now,
Kawhi's just coming off a title. Obviously,
yeah, and
Finals
Paul
MVP.
George was having a great, he was having a great year. Like, you had reason to believe when you looked at that Clipper team that you thought they could win championships.
Right.
And it just didn't work out, health and all that. That was like 2 a.m. late. I think of ones, it's funny, I was showing this to one of our players the other day. Kobe would change his cell phone a lot. So sometimes he would let you know when you were one behind, like, hey, here's my new number. Okay. And so sometimes he would email, and I had the old BlackBerry Messenger. And I remember 2013, he had torn his ACL, obviously, the year before. And I remember the date, it was November 16th. And he said to me, I will let you know when I come back to practice. Now, this is 13. Even then, it didn't feel like there was a zillion people it would be different in 2023 than 2013.
Right.
And I still have this one email on my phone. His email was Bull Mamba XXIV or something. And I remember it was on my BlackBerry. And he just said, you don't have to hit me every day. I will tell you when I'm coming back. I said, okay, I'm not gonna. Kobe didn't like to be pestered. So I didn't pester him. I said, all right, I'll try. You'll tell me when you're ready. Yeah. And so it was like a Saturday morning. I think it was a Saturday morning, and I just get an email, and it just said first day. And that was his way. I said, I'm back. And I remember I hit somebody with the Lakers. I go, did Kobe just practice? They said, yep. And so I put it out. And that email, sometimes these old emails just stay in your folder. And so every once in a while, I'll be typing in KO for something else, and it'll pop up, and it'll make me think of him. And he was, he loved this guy. Yeah. Like, he loved this guy. I remember one of the things that really gave me credibility in the NBA was Kobe would talk to me. Absolutely. And he was really generous with me. And it gave me a lot of credibility with other players, with GMs, with everybody. And so I remember we were somewhere. I remember standing with him at the Staples Center. I would always talk to him kind of on the way to his car. It was on the loading dock. And I remember there was something, he was defending you. He was like, I told Melo, he's like, it was something about stop apologizing. Play the way you play. Stop apologizing. It was right in the middle of the Phil stuff. And it's funny, Kobe always thought, I remember there was a time where he was convinced he was going to end up with the Knicks. Yeah. There was a time when Jim Buss was running the Knicks, or when Jim Buss was running the Lakers. I remember sitting there with Kobe down in Orange County. I think Tim Grover was with us. And I remember him saying, they're going to amnesty me. And I said, Kobe, like, the Lakers are not amnestying you. No, he doesn't want me here. And it's just, whatever it was. And he was kind of going through it with them. And he goes, they're going to amnesty me. and no one's going to claim me on waivers, and I'm going to go sign with the Knicks. And I said, you're
I
not.
just felt like a 12 gauge to my chest.
I said, like, they're not going to, like, they're not going to amnesty you. I said, they'll burn this city down. But he loved the Lakers, and he only ever really wanted to be there. But when he would fantasize about he loved the Garden in New York, right? He did.
Yeah, that's all he talked about. He did tell me that.
Oh, you hurt my feelings right now.
He told me, why the fuck you keep apologizing?
I remember he said that to me one night. Yeah.
Why the fuck you keep apologizing?
Yeah.
Fuck that motherfucker.
That's it. Right?
That was his word.
That's why I remember said that. I remember standing on the dock talking
apologizing.
about that.
Oof. Yeah. I was just more, all right, my bad. My bad. It's my
For sure.
fault. We lost it. My bad. You know what? Yeah, Phil, you're right. All right, my bad. I apologize. Cool. I got it. Shoot me here. Cool.
Yeah.
He like, motherfucker, why you keep apologizing? Stop taking all these shots.
Yeah.
I said, man, I said, shoot and shoot. He said, no, motherfucker. Stop taking all them bullets. Stop apologizing.
Right.
Word up.
Man, God bless Kobe, man. God.
Word. Shout out to the Mamba.
Yeah.
So listen, another big part of what you do, draft night. You know what I'm saying? Prospects coming in, teams, trades, all that stuff happens. We got a very big example of like a bomb that happens on trade night right here across from us. What was more tricky? Finding new ways to like hint around
The
draft
Orlando
picks?
Magic is entangled with.
You know what I'm saying?
The New York Knicks are smitten with.
I did it in 1 year. I wish I didn't do it. I wish I didn't do it.
In talks with
Yeah.
King Thesaurus out there on draft night.
Yeah,
bro.
they were just like, hey, you just can't say they're taking this guy. We have the TV rights. You just can't fuck up this show. You know?
Was it on purpose or was it just like, fuck it, I'm going to bring out the Thesaurus?
No. They knew, like,
I'm about to sound like T.I. out here.
they knew. You know what was funny? By the end of that night, when teams would text me, hey, we're taking this guy, a couple teams sent me their own verbs to use. Like fooling around, and I used them. I remember one of them. I want to say a team, but I don't want to give it. Like, there was a team in the like mid-20s and then the late 20s. Two guys just hit me with, like, they just threw like I was like, yeah, I'll use it. It's fine, you know. So, but yeah, I wish I didn't, because I wasn't trying to draw this. The attention should be on the players on draft night. It should be on the trades. It shouldn't be on me. And I never liked it like that. And so it ended up drawing more attention than maybe I should have known better. But it was. I think people thought it was like in the face of what ESPN was telling me. We had talked before about it, and they just said, just don't exactly say we're going to pick him. So it'd be funny because somebody, remember, said to me, he goes like, when I would be on TV, I couldn't go on and say, hey, Cleveland traded up to number 10. On Twitter, I might have already said, hey, they want, Joe Schmo at number, they're focused on taking Joe Schmo at number 10, whoever. But on TV, I'd go, well, like even though I'd already said it on Twitter, you just had to be different on the show. So I'd say things like, well, he's at the top of their draft board right now. So that's my way of saying, like, no, he's at the top of the draft board. They could change their minds.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But I always knew, like, that's who. And
Plausible
so it became,
deniability.
it became, but I got it. It's a TV show, and like you had it. It was different once I got to ESPN. When I was at Yahoo, my job was just to mess with the show. Now you're there, and like they're paying you to. I get it.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Right now, FanDuel's giving everyone 3 months of NBA League Pass, bro. That's an eternity.
Wow. So all you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beat is place any $5 bet on the NBA to get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of our guys, FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/7PM to make every moment more this season. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. You would think graduating from the game means slowing down and taking things easy, but I'm busier than ever. And I need a fitness regimen that can keep up with this season of life I'm in. Fortunately, there's Peloton, a great tool for adapting your routine to your needs and schedule no matter the season.
And no matter where you are, the challenge is always there. With Peloton's All Access membership, you can work out anytime, anywhere, like at home, on your bike, on the treadmill, on the row, or on the go, and at the gym with the app.
Listen, man, Peloton's variety of stretching and recovery classes ensures that you do not be washed like me. You know what I'm saying? You can keep your body moving at 100% and prepare for your next athletic challenge, man. It could be running, cycling, or one of the many other disciplines that Peloton has to offer. You know what I'm saying? You can fight Kaz one-on-one, shirtless. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's strength and training.
Listen, man, they got strength training programs to get ready for game time. They got meditation and yoga for the post game. They got all that. Peloton has what you need to keep you on track to achieving your fitness goals.
So find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Feels like folks that followed you on social media during your career at ESPN and Yahoo, it felt like there was relationships that you had that were strong, and there were relationships that people, made your job more difficult, let's just say. Can you give me any examples of that happening? When
I think that your relationships with people evolve. I think people, they have, I think sometimes they had ideas of who you had relationships with or didn't, and usually it was pretty wrong. Like I would say, like it was like people would guess, and I would say, yeah, you're not. You don't put as much thought into this as I do. I promise, right? Like just like I wouldn't with your job. Like I knew. So I think your relationships with people got better. I could think of like just over time, like your different relationships grew, got better. My relationship with Rich Paul from 2010 when he was really young and I was really young. Mm-hmm. And then as I got to know Rich better, our relationship was different because we got to know each other. Mm-hmm. And I always look back in my career, like I was never afraid to look back and go, I shouldn't have phrased something like that, or I wish I didn't say it that way.
Right.
And there's plenty of guys I've gone to and said, hey, this has bothered me. I said this about you and I wish I hadn't. I'm sorry I said it.
Yeah.
Or I didn't mean it to come out. I could see how it could be viewed as that. And if you can't do that, like that, I think at least gives you credibility with people instead of saying, well, I'm never wrong.
I'm standing on it.
Of course I'm wrong. Like,
that's honorable right there.
But of course, like you evolve and you look at things, you grow and you look at things better, and then you get to know people, you understand people better. And that's the job, is right. It's, you get more, you're supposed to be growing and getting better at it.
Yeah.
Melo wasn't the same person at 33 in the NBA that he was at 23. Mm-hmm. None of us are. And if you are, probably
you're doing something wrong.
It's not good, right?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, like I was proud of the relationships I had, and I just knew with people, for the most part, guys understood my job, and there's always a push and pull. We aren't always going to see eye to eye on stuff. We're not supposed to. I'm not there for, but I think most people would be able to say to you, like, I didn't lie to them. If they told me something was off the record, it was off the record. Now, I might call up an agent and say, hey, your guy got in trouble today somewhere. Do you know what happened? Do you want to help me with it? Understand what happened? Come on, you're not going to. No, I am. I got to report this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to. So, but most important, I got to get it right. But I got to get it right.
Give me context.
I got to get it right. Give me context so I can understand.
Give me something.
And so, whatever it is, that's the job. That's what the job was. So, but no one would ever say like, hey, you didn't call me. You didn't give me a chance to tell my side. And sometimes you'll get beat on a story because I want to get all of this before I was okay with living with, I could live with getting beat. I could not live with being wrong.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean you're perfect. And if you do make a mistake, you correct it and say, hey, but hopefully you don't miss any like really like big ones. But
was there ever a moment that you had that you got wrong that you were just like, man, I wish I didn't?
I never felt like I got, like, sometimes I always looked at it as like, there's more to the story. And then, you would always be like, you're not always reporting 100% of every story from every angle in real time. And like, I'm going to learn more an hour from now than I know now. And when I get it and I have it, then I'm going to put that out. But it's got to be in context. So in real time, I would just say in that job, you had to make a lot of decisions every day about what's newsworthy, what's not newsworthy. I mean, two guys get into it in the locker room. I'm like, guys, I could write that every day. Two guys talking shit in the locker room. Yeah. Those were always like, my rule was kind of, if it got physical, I would write it. Mm-hmm. if it was, but I mean, come on, Melo. How many, like, every day somebody was saying something to somebody, some coach, every day. And so, like, I could write them all. Right. I would always, like, if it spoke to a bigger problem that was going on, those were the hard decisions. Because sometimes it could just be two guys blowing off steam and 15 minutes later you were fine.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's some, no, it's part of a bigger problem.
All right, so let's talk about this. Earlier this season, there was a thing with the Philadelphia 76ers. There was a closed-door meeting. They started off real slow. The first thing Embiid and Paul George are saying is like, how did this even get out? Like, who's the mole? Who's the leaker in our locker room?
It's never one person. Like, here's the thing. If something happens in front of everybody in the locker room, here's what happens. Player leaves the locker room, calls his agent. So, holy shit, you won't believe what Melo said to D'Antoni today. Whoever, I'm not, right? Player,
just make believe.
Whatever, right? Like, okay,
totally random.
So assistant coaches are in there, equipment guys are in there. Like, all you need, and it's not even like shared in. I want it to get out. It's people can't. It's a gossip league. They can't wait to tell everybody what crazy thing happened in the NBA
impossible.
Today. So, like, the idea that, like, it's one person ever, it's never one person. No. It's like, if something gets said in front of the whole locker room, it's going to get out. And then it's whether, like, it's just too many people in there.
It's relationship based also. So we have a team, and say we have a players only meeting, right? We leave out of here, we saying nothing better not get out. Somebody has a relationship with the equipment manager. Somebody has a relationship with a trainer. Somebody has a relationship with somebody that works in there. So now you're not thinking nothing wrong with it. You thinking everything is inclusive. So you go build with it. Oh man, it was meeting got crazy. It's just small talk, right? But you thinking that we all together, and then you go home that night and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So this
like, how the fuck did this get out? But that's how it happened. Somebody got a relationship with somebody. And it's not on purpose.
It's not always like sinister. I think people always think, who was trying to hurt this guy to put this out?
No.
Mostly it's just guys can't shut up. Right? It's just guys
are gossips, man.
They just gossip and then it gets out and then it gets back to you.
Like, dude.
Right? Then it gets back to you.
4 guys together.
It's
right?
Teams that we just call it talking meetings shit. that haven't gotten out.
That's right. Yeah. And like I always say, like I always would tell bad organizations, everything gets leaked.
Yeah.
The good ones, they're able to keep. Everybody has problems.
It's sealed.
The Spurs, the Tim Duncan Spurs had shit going on in the locker room.
Probably more than anybody else.
But you know what? They didn't let it out of their locker room. Yeah. Tim dealt with it in the locker room, or their leadership dealt with it. It didn't get out, mostly. But where bad teams, every wart gets out. It all gets leaked. And everybody in the organization. And so.
But you said a word. Leadership.
Yep.
There's no leadership on bad teams.
Right.
The good teams.
It's every man for himself.
Has leadership. And they know it's a leader that's going to say, yo, if this get out, like,
you got to deal with
this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be all on board on this. On a bad team, a bad situation, there's no leadership, which is why they're a bad team. Right? So, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's deeper than wins and losses on bad teams. You got travel, you got locker room, you got niggas beefing every single day. You got, like, this is what's actually happening. So if you don't have no leadership, you don't have nobody to come in and bring that together and stop the bullshit before it goes from game 10 to game 35 to game 60, because then it becomes a super long season where you not getting along and you losing games and you're a bad team with no leadership. Now it goes to the coach. Now the coach got to bite that bullet because you're the leader.
That's
we don't have a leader. We don't have no leader. Right? So it goes
on
to
the org chart.
You're in charge, buddy. So it goes to the coach. That's how it is. That's how it's designed.
So is something like that like a how would you say, like a poisoned locker room? You know what I mean? Like a broken locker room. Is that something that you would say, okay, I have to report on this, even though you might get a call from like, hey, Adrian, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, you're going to get that. Of course you are.
This guy's on the contract here. Are you fucking crazy? Have you ever gotten calls like that? You don't have to say who has been, but like,
it would be nice if you mentioned.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you the most memorable call of my career was Jerry Tarkanian.
Okay.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Ooh.
So I was working in Fresno. Tark was at Fresno State. And he was mad that Sonny Vaccaro, Tark had brought his, I think Sonny had gone to Adidas. He had a new Adidas deal. I mean, this is how old I am. It was pre-really, Tark was worried somebody was going to fax my column to Sonny because we weren't really on the internet yet. And so I remember
fax is a thing that people used to send out.
Right. And it was
phone,
and I think whatever it was, he was mad about something with it. And he was like, Sonny's going to see it. So I'll never forget this. 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, Tark reads his Fresno B, and I answer my phone. It was a landline. I was in bed. I answer. I was like, hello? No hello. It was just Tark goes, if I get fucked every day for the rest of my fucking life, I will never get fucked harder than you fucked me today. I went, good morning, Tark. I was like, good morning, Tark. I guess you read your paper? And he was just like, Sonny's going to read this. Sonny's going to see this. I'm like, Tark. Like, whatever it was. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, what are you hearing? What's going on? And like he just wanted to vent. I remember sitting in Tark's office right when he got the Fresno State job. And he was trying to recruit, it was 96. He was trying to recruit KG, who would end up in the draft, Marbury, who ends up at Tech, because they all wanted to talk to Tark. They weren't going to go to Fresno.
Was Rafer?
Rafer came after. My last year in Fresno. Rafer was at Fresno's junior college, City College. But I do remember him in his office on the phone with Lamar Odom, and he was trying to get Lamar Odom to Fresno, which he knew probably at this point wasn't going to happen. And it was between Vegas and UConn. And Tark did not want him going to UNLV. Number one, he was in the league. And number two, he didn't want Vegas to have success. So he was on the phone telling Lamar to go to UConn. And he did sign with Vegas, and then he got declared ineligible and ended up at URI with
Prop 48 or something like that.
No, you know what it was? It was he got like $6,000 worth of
it was
gold.
some money. Yeah,
No, it was dental work.
Yeah.
It was dental work in Vegas. And so he was declared ineligible. Oh my God!
NIL check.
We're paying. I mean, we're paying that to kids. Never mind.
That's meal money now.
That's meal money.
Yeah. Your Twitter feed is basically like the official timeline of all the biggest NBA moves of the past 15, 20 years, right? So since you're here, we want to switch it up and have something that we call sort of a what if of scenarios that could have happened as far as
this is new.
The incredible moments in your NBA timeline. Mero, ready to kick this off?
This is new right here.
The NBA Cinematic
we switching it up for season 2, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
Marvel got what if, so does 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? What if LeBron James, Bron, as he's commonly known, never left the Cavs in 2010? The decision does not happen. LeBron stays in Cleveland, a la Derek Jeter.
I'm not sure it would have been some happy ending in Cleveland if he stayed then. I think the environment was not good. I think he had to go. I'm not sure. He was so great he would have won championships. They just would have. But you look back on it, and he had grown up in Cleveland. He had played his early career, and I think you hear him talk about it. He needed to go away. I'm not sure it would have worked out. I think him coming back there ended up being better for him. I think he grew a lot in Miami.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he was going to have the growth he would have had in Cleveland that he got going to Miami with everything that was in place there.
A lot of people don't also, I think it was a little bit easier to swallow when he left, because of the owner letter that he wrote and Comic Sans afterwards.
Made it easier. Yeah.
After that happened, everyone was like, "That's the dude you playing for?" All right,
bad fonts.
South Beach team's a little bit better.
Bad fonts. He might have stayed and played. He might have played tight end for the Cleveland Browns. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
So, what if the Warriors didn't lose a 3-1 lead in 16?
Oof. I mean, KD doesn't come.
Ball partner.
Hey,
nothing,
yo,
right?
KD,
we get a Woj Bomb on here every time.
Right? KD does not go to Golden State if If
the Thunder don't blow that lead.
what year are we talking about?
Draymond doesn't call
That's 2 3-1 leads.
16.
Yeah.
The 3-1 lead.
So this is Cleveland
Yes,
and
16.
Wait, I got my years. I got my years. What year?
We know you're on the other side.
No,
now.
KD went in 2016, right?
So are we referring to? We're referring to the Warriors blowing the lead against
Yes,
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yes,
Oh, it's
16.
Cleveland. Yeah.
Draymond in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Draymond.
Baseball game
I
across
got
the
it right. I got it right.
street.
Yeah. I mean, like that's
Sending Woj information.
Yo, just want phone KD on phone.
Photographic memory.
Yo, I'm gonna merge the calls. Hold on.
I've merged a few calls in my life. I don't need to get any. There's some tampering that went on in this league, boy.
Oh man! Hey,
I mean, listen.
I don't know is there a statute of limitations on all these? I mean,
not on my ability
St.
to
Bonnie's
keep a
looking
secret
good.
that
They
I
ain't
said
going
I would
back,
keep.
right?
Yeah.
all right. What if David?
That might be the way to fund our NIL at
There you
St.
go.
Bonaventure is to, right?
Woj bombs.
Black,
You know what I'm
yeah.
the bombs that never detonate.
Yeah,
Redacted
exactly.
bombs.
No, we still want Woj to walk around, man.
Yeah, what he's saying.
Body got good
Golly.
security, man. Body's got good security.
Man, we want
They'll
bodies
go
to
wake
be
up with a
good,
horse
man.
head in his
want them
bed.
to
We
be
don't
good
want
in the
that. We don't want
18,
that. Okay, what if David Stern didn't veto the Chris Paul Lakers trade for basketball reasons in 2011?
Oh,
I'm going to tell you, I don't think that Laker team was good enough to win. They had no size. You know, Kobe was
This is pre-Pau Gasol, right?
right. Like Pau was in that trade.
he was.
Pau was going to Houston.
Right.
Lamar was going to New Orleans.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that at that time, Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant were the best team in the league. I don't think they were. They had no size. You needed size in the West. I mean, that wasn't enough. And people underestimate what the loss of Pau would have meant to that team.
Big time. But they would have built something.
So, because we talk about this a lot about Chris Paul, him being like a culture changer, a guy that goes to a team and no matter where they're at, you know,
They're better than
record-wise,
where they were before.
Right. He just elevates that team. You're saying that they wouldn't have been the best team, but you know, you probably would have reported later Woj bombs of them acquiring.
Maybe right.
size.
But
You know
I don't
what mean?
think
Like,
that in and of itself.
Jerry
that-
West would have
that-
sent Powell back. to the
that
Lakers.
team had to get. I don't think that
do you a
roster would have
solid.
been good enough.
Speaking of
They
tampering,
would have been very good. Yeah. Right?
Jerry West would have been like, "Yo, I got
Jerry
you, I
West
got you, I
was
got
like,
you."
yo, Powell, come on back. Houston,
Yeah,
come on. We
man.
need him back. We need him back.
When you get to that level of like, you know, I want to say intrigue in a league, do you feel like, you know, this is gonna sound insane, but like, do you feel like, yo, this is, I can't let this go. This is, if I report on this is gonna blow up a lot of things.
Super
or-
sensitive
You know
information.
what I mean? Like as a
Yeah.
journalist, you know,
You got to report the news.
Right.
Because if you don't, somebody else is. It's not staying quiet. And so I'd always tell people, like, if I don't report it, somebody else is. So help me get it right. Help me get it right because it's coming out. And I'm like, so, you know, it all gets out. It all eventually gets out. And so
It's just what you want to get out.
I just think that it needs to be accurate. It needs to be responsible, but it's coming. You're not stopping it.
You know what I'm saying? What if the Nuggets trade Melo to the Lakers in 2011?
Somebody threw that one in there, huh?
Yeah, that looks like a new one.
I'm trying to remember.
Like a
I'm trying to remember if the Lakers were really in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the offers were.
They wanted Nene. It was Lamar.
They wouldn't part with Nene for you?
It was Lamar and Bynum.
That's right,
For
Bynum.
Me, for me and Nene.
That's right, Bynum. I forgot about Bynum. Yeah,
Wait, who ended up
Hey.
saying no? Is it LA or Denver?
I think Denver didn't want to give up Nene.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, Nene was a big piece.
That's crazy. Nene
Nene was going to when the Chris Paul trade was happening.
This was all around the same time.
The Rockets had a trade. The Rockets had cap space, so they were signing Nene. I think it was like 5 years, $55 million or 5-6. It was. I remember the number. They had a deal with Nene in place, and they were going to bring in Pau and play the two of them together. And then when the trade got blown up and they couldn't get Pau, I think they just didn't do the Nene.
No.
Maybe that was part of the trade, but he was part of. It would have been Pau and Nene together in Houston.
Nene stayed in Denver
That's right.
when I left.
That's right.
Yeah. But it would have been Nene and Powell, CP and Cole.
The what if machine, man.
It's one more though. It's one more. I know with Woj. What if Dan Hurley accepted the Lakers job.
How many referees would he have pile-drived in the NBA? Danny's biggest challenge in the NBA, to me, it would not have been coaching the players.
No.
Guys respond to him. He would have been fine with LeBron. He would have been fine with AD. I really believe that. Like, he knows how to connect with players. I think the challenge for him would have been referees over 82 games, heckling fans.
Crash out.
Right? The heckling fan that, like, at Providence or Creighton, that you get into it with, and everyone's like, "Oh, Danny Hurley's fighting for his team. It's great." When you do that in the NBA, I said, like, you're going to be leading First Take the next day. It's going to be college coaches unraveling.
You can't handle the pressure on the
right? It's going to be viewed differently when you're doing that in the NBA.
Right.
Like the guy sitting in the celebrity seats at the Laker game, you can't say shit to him.
Yeah.
And so that's different than yelling at the drunk kid up in the stands who, or maybe whatever. That's just viewed differently. Yeah. And I think having a boss, like having a GM that you have to answer to, he's in charge. And so I don't think it would have been like scheming and building relationships with players. I think he would have been fine with that part of it. He's probably where he should be.
He is where he should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
NBA would have been crazy for him, boy. Damn.
Yeah, with all that experience though, now you're leading St. Bonaventures, you know what I mean, as a general manager of basketball, obviously. And how has that affected like the students that come to visit, that come to check it out, just knowing your connections and just knowing that there's not anybody in the basketball world you can't touch, and how that's going to help you, bring in some incredible talent to the program? Yeah,
that's for us at St. Bonaventure. I spent a lot of time with players and their coaches and their agents in all quarters of the world and the country, talking about the access, the network that I have. And I would say that my network is going to become your network. And that might mean getting to go work out with some players that you admire and seeing how they work and their work habits. Getting you on a Zoom with some guys to pick their brains, but also getting real intel from the NBA and pro basketball, because it's not all the NBA. Listen, every guy wants to play in the NBA. Very few are going to. And there are a lot of places on this planet where you can make incredible living playing basketball. I know the NBA is the pinnacle. And I always tell guys, like, if you're not good enough, I can't help you. I can't help you if you're not good enough. But if you are good enough, and we've had those guys at Bonaventure, they're going to know everything they need to know about you. And you're going to know where you need to improve, where your weaknesses are, where you stand. And so, I can, with a couple of our recruits now, I can share video of these players with NBA executives and get feedback from them about the best way for us to use a 4-man or a 5-man at the college level that will best showcase them with their skill set. And I can bring that back to a player and say, hey, these 3 or 4 really respected front offices who've scouted you now, they've seen you. That has a lot of value, I think. Or, hey, we're going to put in place a performance strength program for you. And so I'm going to go to an NBA team, and I'm doing that right now with a couple, where I'm going to find a similar body type and say, can you show me the program you use to get this player physically stronger, better? We have a kid with a similar body type, and I can bring that to that player and say, here's our plan along with our performance people at Bonaventure. I think those are unique things that we can do. And, we'll have a pro day at St. Bonaventure, just like Kentucky and Gonzaga or UCLA, any of them. When we have, when we have NBA level prospects that I can call guys and say, hey, these guys should be on your radar. And when they feel, then I'm going to invite all those guys in. But I won't ask guys to come in and do that when we don't. And we've got a great group right now. So I love it. It's like putting a puzzle together. You have a salary. I mean, you have parameters with NIL, and you've got to figure out a way to be creative in roster building and doing it from all corners of the world and the country, and you have to understand that for us, we might be the first stop on the way somewhere else. we might be the place you come to when you got to get the basketball right. You took the NIL, you got great NIL, you picked the weather somewhere else, you picked a big name program, but you didn't get the basketball right. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
We've got one of the best coaches in the country in Mark Schmidt at St. Bonaventure. Incredible success, NCAA tournament, Atlantic 10. We've got him there. We've got a great place to play college basketball, sold out every game in a really good league. You know, you saw Dayton take Carolina
Big time.
to the wire, and VCU and our league, lots of great programs in big Eastern markets. And I'm going to be there to help you, whether you're with us for 1 year or 4 years or 3 years, you're going to have me in your life the rest of the way. And the one thing that was a big part of this for me, like, we want to win.
Yeah.
It's important, but I want to bring value to guys' lives beyond basketball. Or what are we doing? Mm-hmm. You know, I want to put people in their lives, whether they come to us, it's a 1 year thing, a 2 year thing. I want to give them people in their lives away from basketball, in basketball, that they can go to for the next 30, 40 years. And if you just come to St. Bonaventure and you just get some NIL and you win some games and you lose some games and hopefully we get into the postseason and you leave and that's all you walk away from, we failed. That's not enough. And so I think we appeal to a kid and family who value, you know, a lot of those other things. And again, for me, being able to let these guys know that they're going to be able to call on me and call on us when they're done playing, and we're going to be there to help in lots of ways. And that's going to be when their career's over, and, you know, get them exposed to people in their, you know, their major with alums and help them build out relationships away from basketball. And some of the NIL deals that we're going to start announcing here soon, part of those are, the money's important and we have to be able to provide like competitive money with other schools. Mm-hmm. But part of what I want to do with our guys is get them access to people access to people in business and in other walks of life that they wouldn't have normally gotten if they didn't come to St. Bonaventure, and put those people in their lives. And that's part of the NIL, is giving them relationships to go out with, not just money that may or may not be gone in 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm a recruiter, you're saying to me, listen, I can't offer you this huge bag like this other big program, but I can offer you a diverse array of options of people, connections, things that you can do beyond the game of basketball if you so choose.
That's it. And I understand that doesn't appeal to everybody, but it appeals to enough guys. And when we drill down on the guys who do value it, then we got to recruit the heck out of them. And so, you know, to me, like, we got to get these guys degrees still. And nobody talks about it anymore. I get it in NIL, and like, guys deserve to get what their value is. But that can't be all this. I know it feels like pro basketball, and it is, but that doesn't absolve us of a responsibility to make sure that guys are getting meaningful degrees, and that if they're staying, that they're getting something out of that part of it. And like, it doesn't mean much to me if we're not doing that. Like, I want to win, and we've had great success, but a part of this that to me is real gratifying is being able to have an impact in guys' lives. And I love being around our guys, and you forget being around a college campus, and you know, you're seeing it with your son. Like, when you're around these young guys, like, there's an energy to it that's fun to be around, instead of all of us older, cynical guys. You know, they still see everything in front of them.
For sure.
And I love being around it.
Grumpy ass vets.
Yeah.
Old head motherfuckers.
I got one more question though. What's your work-life balance like now? It feels like, you know, between being the insider in ESPN and then going from a GM of a college program. You
know, it's funny you asked that. My wife said to me earlier this week, she was like, I knew you were going to do it the same way. I knew you were going to do this job the same way. I knew it. But I will say this. Our team is going to Florida. We're going to Disney. We're going to where Melo and I were in the bubble. I told my wife, I will never miss another holiday. When I left, like, they're going to play the game whether I'm there. They don't need me there to play the game.
You're a smart guy.
right?
you go.
And so,
And he don't want to go back to that bubble. That's
I see Vietnam bombs go off. Thinking of the bubble.
it was like, did you ever see that movie? I don't know if you guys ever saw it. James Carrey was in it. What was the one where the whole world, it was Truman Show.
Truman Show, yes.
Where every
That's
day
classic.
the guy would come on the bike. It was the Truman Show. Every morning you'd see LeBron would come on his bike. Mike Budenholzer would come running. He would jog with no shirt on. So Budenholzer with no shirt. LeBron would come to the corner.
Looking like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
And it was every day, like the morning, it was like I would see Masai on his walk. It was like that movie every day because it was this tiny little area of space.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like to me.
so many storylines.
Yeah. I would say I could be more present. I'm working hard at it. But if I go to dinner with my family or if I'm with somebody, I don't, like whoever's calling, I can deal with it in 2 hours. Before, the world would change in a minute or two. And I would say the other biggest difference is I went from Stephen A. picking my hotels to AAA picking my hotels. Trying not to blow our budget. Trying not to blow my St. Bonaventure budget. I'm very conscious about
discount.
that. And so
You're the guy in charge of the salary cap.
yeah. And so and I
from AAA, baby.
I love it. I love being back. I was in LA recruiting, and I've got like a Kia rental car. I've got the Sheraton by the airport. I'm grinding it, chasing some guys, and it's fun. It's fun. I love it. I love it. I went to St. Bonaventure. I met my wife there. My brother-in-law, Darren Quidlin from the Bronx and the island, played basketball at Bonaventure.
Yep.
My father-in-law went there. And so like all the good things in my life, it's funny, when I was a high school senior, nobody in my family had gone to college. My dad worked at a factory. My brother's an auto mechanic. And so I visited Syracuse, and it was so big and intimidating. And I knew that it's a great journalism program, and it just seemed overwhelming. I'm like, I can't go here. And I visited Bonaventure, and it was this place that gave me confidence, and it transformed my life. It really did.
So you mean to tell me we missed out on Woj at Cuse? We missed
I wouldn't have lasted long. You do the what ifs.
With
I would have lasted about 2 weeks. I would have been in the portal pretty fast.
I'm coming from the Bronx. It's Big Woj from the Bronx.
Live from Newhouse.
Yeah. And that's what I try to talk to kids about is that I lived it, and it transformed my life. I came from a really blue collar family. And I think kids see the stories of maybe what I walked away from financially at ESPN to do this. And I want them to know how much the place means to me. I believe in the place, and I believe in the role it can play for young people. And so for me, it's easy to pour myself into that program and into that school every day. We have an incredible coach, and people see the GM, the coach. It's not the NBA. The head coach is in charge.
Yeah.
Right.
Adrian Wojnarowski is the GM and head coach of Syracuse basketball.
Absolutely.
Right? Alex is awesome. Alex Klein, Syracuse GM, but we work for the head coach.
Absolutely.
And so what my job is to bring him options. So I'm, around the world trying to get us involved with players, and then I'm going to bring those players to our staff and say, hey, here's some film on some guys. Let's go through it and tell me who you like, and guys you don't love, we'll put them aside. Other guys, okay, we're going to start recruiting those guys. So that's my job, is to bring them as many options as I can with players. Then of course the NIL, chasing that down.
That's for real a full circle moment, right? Like meeting your wife there, kind of like starting your professional life at Bonnie's and then coming back. So we're big on moments here, Woj.
Okay.
And the 7 p.m. moment is a segment here. It's presented by Peloton, where we ask our guest, our illustrious guest, in this case you, a moment in your life, in your career, where you had to see a fork in the road and go this way or this way, but whatever way you chose impacted the rest of your career, your life, whatever.
It's a good one. I guess I came to this one with, Bonaventure, ESPN. I'll tell you, I went to a movie with my wife and daughter. My daughter was home visiting us. It was a Saturday night. It was, we could go back and look what the date was. It was July. late. I was like, okay, it's Saturday night. There's nothing going on in the NBA. I felt like I could go to a movie with them, and we sit down, and all the previews are done, and literally they're starting the movie. I think it was I never saw it. It was a tornado movie, whatever that tornado.
Twisters.
Tornado movie.
Yeah,
he was living in
and
it.
as soon as I sat down, I look and I get a call, and it was like the Jared Allen contract extension. So I walk out. My wife doesn't even look up. I walk out, and I'm in the lobby of the movie theater for the next 2 hours. Like, he was just getting the extension done. I was going between the agent and with the, it was Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley. And I was going between the agent and the team back and forth. And finally it was done and I had it. And so, like, literally as I'm posting it and getting it out, like, they're coming out of the movie. Right. And I just feel like an asshole. Mm-hmm. Right. We went to the movies together and I knew I was done. And I just said, that
was it.
It wasn't, I had already made my decision, but it was a reminder of, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
these, like,
it was
like I've done
for
this.
you. Like,
it was just like, I just want to go to a movie with them and sit and watch a movie.
Right.
And my wife has put up with this. She's put up, like, she met me on the student newspaper. I'll tell you, when I got back to Bonaventure, they didn't have an office. They were renovating some offices, and they're like, hey, we have this empty space downstairs. You could I was like, yeah, whatever. Just put me wherever for this week. And I walk in and I'm like, this is not some empty space. This was the student newspaper when I was a student. And I'm like, I met my wife in this room, and now I'm back at Bonaventure calling, JUCO guards in Oklahoma from this room at 55 years old. Like, and so, like, my wife thinks she's living in, an episode of Old School. She's waiting for Will Ferrell to come. She's like waiting for Will Ferrell to come running down the street. She's, but she loves Bonaventure. She's, but she's indulged me with a lot of stuff. And so I appreciate it. Yeah. No, that's what she's waiting. She's waiting for, the scene.
In the world of NBA Twitter or just NBA stories, you know what I mean? The Ryu always had Ken. Goku always had Vegeta. Right. You know what I mean? Like, Jordan always had Kobe, you know what I'm saying?
For a long time, it was just Woj. It was Highlander.
It was just Woj for a while.
Then it was Highlander.
And then
there was only one.
The next one, the prodigal son, I guess. The next one underneath you, Shams, gets popping. Give us the real, man. I know you're a competitive dude. I know when you talking and you're talking about everything you mean to say in Bonaventure.
Is this Tyson Holyfield, man? Was
same competitive drive?
Was there animosity?
You got that same competitiveness.
Was there voicemails? I met him when he was in college. We hired him at Yahoo. Mm-hmm. I think we helped pay for his last couple years of college. Mm-hmm. And
is that the nice way of being like, yo, that's my little son?
No. But I'm saying, like, you could see you have to be driven to do this. You have to be willing to put in the work, and he was always willing to put in the work.
Shout out to Shams, man.
That's low,
right.
Low,
and listen, he reached out to me the day I retired, and I told him, I said, hey, I hope you have as fulfilling and as gratifying of a career or something like that. Like,
he said, I win, bitch.
Like, you got to be competitive. You got to be competitive to do this.
For sure.
And part of, like, for me being on this side, of, like, with Bonaventure, I'm competitive. I want us to win.
Walking out of a movie, though, that's
you know what I mean? Like, we're busting our asses in recruiting and raising money. Like,
walking
we want to win.
On your family is competitive.
And so, I'm getting on a plane to go to Europe in, a few weeks. And, we've got players coming in from all over the world to visit. Like, we've got to get guys. We want to win. So that competitive fire that I had there, like, it's here. Yeah. Like, I retired from that industry. I did not retire from wanting to win and being competitive. Yeah. And so, and I'm working for a coach and a coaching staff that have done it at a super high level. And so I'm trying to keep up with their, what they bring to it every day. And so, it's competitive.
I got to ask you a real question, though.
It's out of here.
I got to ask you.
Little bro.
Was there ever a moment?
Little bro.
Can you at least share a moment with us where you're about to break something?
Come on,
and
my God.
He beat you to the punch. You're like, damn that mother.
We get beat. Like, listen, if you do this, if you're in it every day, all day, There are thousands of stories every year. You get beat by everybody. You get beat by, like, if you're in it, you're getting beat. I mean, I'm pretty proud of my track record. Like, we can go back and look at it.
Yeah,
you said
But you're gonna get beat, and so for lots of reasons. And you know, I would always look in the mirror when I got beat and say, okay, why did I get beat on that one? Could I have done something differently? Did I put the work in that area where it was? And then there's some that are, there's just going to be some that are in your wheelhouse, and there's some that are going to be in somebody else's wheelhouse, and it's going to be harder to get them.
For sure.
And so I think people got used to a level of dominance of, if you just went by the percentages of what was out there and what was available and who got what, like, you know, we set a pretty high standard of it. And so,
Hey, Woj, man, we like to say, man, you did what you had to do, champ. You set the tone. Like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
Don't be, you gotta be modest with us.
This is a show where you come on.
This is what you do. I set the tone for this shit right here.
I left the game. There was a void.
Game on top like Seinfeld.
Come on. I'm Barry Sanders.
I'm here, baby.
I'm proud of my career.
That's right.
I'm proud of my career.
So
Yes,
speaking
sir.
of recruiting and, you know, looking for players to play for Bidens, you know what I mean? Selling them on a smaller program, your connections, etc. What is the strangest place that you've been to recruit a potential player? Well, not strange, but like, you know,
Unconventional.
Unconventional. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was in.
It's not mama's
Yeah.
You said different parts of the world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think.
I was in Norway.
I've only been at it a couple of months. I'm trying to think. I don't want to give away. I don't want anybody to know who I'm recruiting. I will say this. There was, you know, you have a dead period in recruiting. You can't go on a campus. So you have to, you can't go in the gym. So I stayed off campus for a player's game, and I sent them a picture before tip-off from the subway parking lot near his school, let him know I was watching his game online from the subway parking lot across from campus. So you won't see me after the game, but no, I am here. But I can't be there. I mean, it's only been 2 months, guys. I don't have a great story yet. You know, I'll let you know after I go to Europe in a couple of weeks.
There you go. We don't want to blow up no spots, though.
When I go to Austria and find this 8-foot tall,
We got some Baltimore kids. You know what I mean? We should talk about St. Bonnie's, the pipeline.
Yo, hey, the Melo, the Bonnie's pipeline, bro. Whoa. Okay.
Bonaventures.
We have a segment on this show, Woj. It is the #1 segment in America because this is the #1 show in America, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this segment is called Fuck With It or Fuck Out of Here, where we ask you a question about sports, pop culture, music, what have you, and you, Woj, tell us if you are fucking with it. Yes, I approve. Is Woj approved? Woj Bomb, pow. Or fuck out of here. No. The Woj Bomb was a dud. Put the fuse out. You know what I'm saying? The first one we got for you is the NBA recently revealed the new All-Star Game format. It's 4 teams, 8 players each. One of those teams is the winner of the Rising Stars game. So the question is, fellas, fuck with it or fuck out of here. The NBA still trying to make the All-Star Game competitive.
All-Star?
The only guy to ever play in the All-Star
There's only one here.
One person who's played at those?
Fuck with it.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. They have to. You got to keep fucking with the format because it ain't working in the sense of the way it's supposed to be working. So you have to start thinking outside the box. I know people don't want to hear this, but we got to go global.
Right.
We got to go U.S. versus the world.
Okay.
All-Star game. Now you got to stop putting these All-Star games in. No disrespect to these certain cities. No disrespect.
It was a rough stretch for the past 4 years,
real
bro.
business now.
Past 4 or 5 years
You can't
was
keep
tough.
putting All-Star Weekend in the Salt Lake cities. You can't put these All-Star Weekends in
Cleveland.
You just can't
You got
put
a Super
these
Bowl.
Charlotte.
You got a Super Bowl.
No offense.
You got to put this shit in Dubai. Like you giving us a vacation, a week off. Like send us to Dubai, send us to Abu Dhabi, send us to Paris, and you got to take it global. you can't keep doing it here in the U.S.
Right.
Shit is changing.
FIBA Melo in the building. You know what I'm saying? Global
Shit
game.
is changing, man. It's a global game.
Yeah.
It's a global game. And it's a moment. It ain't like it's All-Star Weekend is a moment.
Well,
where
I'll
people
say,
fly out and like people want to go to a destination.
Right.
And
as a player, I feel that. But as a fan.
we vacationing anyway. Like,
Listen, for y'all, that sounds fire, right? Like going to Paris, Dubai. But if I'm a fan and
fans are traveling. Fans are traveling.
Fans will travel. Fans will travel. I'm not saying they won't.
If you build it, they gonna go.
True. But if I'm,
So you fuck out of here.
I don't know if I'm fucking with it and I'm fucking out of here at the same time, right? I'll fuck with it in the sense that, okay, you got to keep trying because every single All-Star game, it's been the same sort of like, how can we make this competitive? And at the very least, if the league is showing that they're willing to try new stuff,
Yeah, they doing it.
the intrigue I'm going to watch. I'm going to at least be interested in it as it starts off. If it works out or not, who knows? They've done a few things over a few years
It
that
always works out though.
yeah, like
league,
they've done
it
things
works
over a few
out.
years where like I look at it at first, I'm like,
They
Elam
not
Mendon for
failing.
All-Star
Like,
game?
they not gonna do nothing and fail. You know, what I mean?
First
Might
time
not
they did
work,
the
they
Elam
gonna-
Mendon, I thought it was amazing. I was like, all
That
right,
Chicago All-Star game was great.
This
Right
is
before
great.
the pandemic. That was a
Absolutely.
great.
for sure.
That was a great All-Star game.
But
that was the last good one.
Yeah, facts. Right
Cold as shit. It was
right
cold
before
as
the
shit
world
out
went to
there.
shit. Right?
He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
Definitely.
What do you think,
But,
Woj? About
yeah.
the new format, everything changing?
Fuck out of here. I'm so sick of talking. I'm so sick of talking about the All-Star game. Is there any other sport? Does anyone care whether the NFL All-Star game's any good or the
No one's trying to fix the Pro
now
Bowl.
it's flag
dog.
football. Isn't it flag football now? NFL?
Yeah.
Right?
They play dodgeball.
Who cares?
Yeah, they
They do everything but play football there.
They got offensive linemen catching passes. They just fucking around.
See, All-Star Weekend mattered when we were young because that was the only time you got to see a lot of these players.
Together.
Right? Everybody wasn't on national TV all the time. If you played in a small market, you weren't on. It was, there were 6 teams on CBS, and now we see everybody every night. That's why nobody wants to be in the slam dunk contest, because there was a time where, you know, if you were Dr. J or Dominique, so much of your aura was built around doing that slam dunk contest.
Yeah.
Because that was the only time people saw you. Now it doesn't matter what market you play in. Every highlight you have is going to be seen in a minute.
Right.
And so, like, there's no value in being in the dunk contest. I always thought it was a thing where agents didn't want to put their guys in it because if they got embarrassed and it didn't go well, or they lost to somebody they didn't want to lose to, the player would be pissed at the agent for talking them into it. So I always felt like agents just want to keep their guys out of it to save the heat. For them, they were never pushing for their guys.
It was a
because
moment in
you just
time
saw
with
a
that.
downside of being in that, right? Like, I'm going to look bad. And, you know, in this world now, everything's ridicule. Everybody just wants to mock everybody all the time. So if you put yourself out there and it doesn't go well, you're like, what did I sign up for this for? I'm just taking shit over it.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Fuck
so
outta
I guess
here.
we fuck out of here.
Back to that.
So are you going full fuck around with the All-Star game, or like just like this? Just because the example I always use is like the Korean baseball All-Star game with their league, where they just having fun with it. They're like having weird targets, hitting targets, doing all type of weird stuff. The NFL Pro Bowl is another example where it's like guys playing dodgeball. You know what I mean? Like you said, if it's a vacation,
Nah, I'm saying, I say vacation, meaning they giving you time off after. You know what I'm saying? So you get a week off from game to game, and sometimes 8 days or some shit like that.
And
I'm
I'll
just
say
saying,
this,
you
though.
utilize that that weekend to have a pop-in place to do All-Star Weekend at. You take that brand and put that in Doha, Qatar, and see what they do with it.
I mean,
You
in
know
one
what I'm
way,
saying?
I'm
Like, you
fucking
take
with
this
it.
in Dubai, and like you see what boxing is doing.
oh yeah,
Abu
I'll tell you
Dhabi,
what
like,
they do. They got a
This
flying
is
drone show.
this is where sports is going with that.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? This is where sports is
You know,
going.
Woj said something that piqued my interest about just everybody ridiculing everything. And I think I'll fuck with your idea of taking it outside of America.
Yeah, well,
because
where it's going to be, it's going to be
overseas crowds, they get so
it's
hyped
gonna be
for
appreciated
everything.
to see like
Yeah.
stars come over all at once. You know, that's why the USA teams be so big and popular like that when we travel.
the owners, a big carrot of owning an NBA team is, or getting a new arena built in your city,
Host an All-Star.
is we're going to host the All-Star game. And so they don't want it. The small markets feel like they give up a lot to the big markets.
totally agree
They
with
lose
that.
all their players to the big markets. Those guys have revenue they don't have. And it's like, you're not going to take these all-star games. That's going to be the hard part, is getting those owners to buy into that.
You think money is still the issue, the conversation? It's money that's going there right now.
What did you just say? Do I think money's still the issue? Yeah. I think money's still the issue.
It's always going to be the issue.
We can agree easily. We can come to the table. You know what I mean? What Kendrick say? A hand to hand is always good when it's coming from the heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can sit down and figure this out.
I got to ask you one last question, Woj.
Okay.
As the new GM of St. Bonnie's basketball, I got to ask you about this fit.
Okay.
Fuck with it or fuck out of here. You're bringing these uniforms back to the game.
I'm going to tell you. So that is Marcus Green, one of our all-time great players.
Yeah, nice.
Right? And Marcus has been back. I've seen him a bunch since. And in fact, it's interesting. Probably break some news here, but number one, the story behind those shorts, why he wore those, I believe his game shorts either got ripped or they forgot them. And the only other guy on the bench that they could get the uniform from on the road was like the backup 7'2" center. So that's why he had to put those on. He didn't wear those regularly.
It's wild though, because there was a time when someone would think that was on purpose. That's
right. And so, but I'm going to tell you something. So we're working on an NIL deal with a company to bring back those shorts. Okay,
I love that.
Okay, and we're gonna market them,
and we need to see you with them.
No, we're gonna, even more importantly, no. So Marcus is going to be back in those shorts.
Nice.
And we're going to cut him into the deal because after 23 or 24 years later, St. Bonaventure is going to make sure that Marcus Green's going to finally get his NIL. That picture's been shared and used for 20 years. He never made any money on it. He's going to now, because we take care of our guys at St. Bonaventure. He's going to get cut into this deal. Yeah. And then the rest of it will go to our collective. So, be looking, right? So be looking for those Marcus Green shorts here soon. We'll be announcing it here in the next period of time. But I can't wait to see him. He's going to pose in the new ones again. Let's go. But he's a big time high school coach down in Philly, and 5'7", led the country in steals.
Becoming cozy and extra cozy. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. So we fuck with it.
That's how we end the show, baby. I love that.
Well, Woj, man, I just want to say thank you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Melo.
It's been a while.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
We've been part of a lot of stories together.
Congratulations on everything.
Part of a lot of bombs together.
Yep.
And now you're here live from the hook, man. So I want to say, appreciate you. Good luck over there with the Bonnies. Anything that I could do, you holler at me. We figure it out.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. This is great.
As
and I got a 11-year-old shooting guard, you know what I'm saying? That's getting recruited right now. You know what I mean?
Got 2 little girls. They coming. They coming.
We'll talk some NIL. We got pay NIL and like Snickers, peanut butter cups.
All that, you know what I'm saying? Reese's Pieces, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Y'all listen, subscribe, like, hit the bell, man. Comment on the comment.
Yeah.
Stay engaged, stay locked in with us, man. This is Way Sports and Entertainment Original. You know the vibes, man. It's presented by FanDuel, man. Stop playing. We're here every week, man. Lock in. We got Woj, we got Melo, we got Kaz. Rudy Gay's not here right now, but he's here. You know what I'm saying? Monica's not here, but she's here. You know what I'm saying? The whole gang is here.
Talk to him.
It's the Wave Gang. Let's go. 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Lock in. Let's go, baby.
Yes, sir.
Peace.